So when I started, one of the approaches that I was taught by a mentor was, if you're going to do a transformation, take people to what better can look like and see if they actually like it. Show them their future and see if it's something they actually desire. So this is basically the model line approach that we've learned from Toyota. It's an internal proof of concept approach. I've been partnering with Nationwide Insurance for quite a few years, done this quite a few times and toured their Gemba, their actual shop floor a number of times, as well as Target. So I ended up taking the leaders to Nationwide. By the way, I saw some of the leadership from Nationwide here as well today. They're excellent. A lot of their materials are online. They present at conferences quite a bit. They have a book that's out there on their approach. So if you want to learn more, there's a lot of opportunities for that. This is a Gemba walk. So what you'll see up here in the upper left-hand corner is what we call nemawashi. There's actually two definitions for nemawashi. The version that we're talking about here is business-sponsored socializing. A lot of what we do involves change management, asking hard questions, asking people to change their behaviors, how they do their work. If you build a rapport with them before you make the ask, you're much more likely to be successful. So we actually sat down with Tom Pater, Kevin as well. Oh, Kevin is here from Nationwide, and a few other folks, and we had drinks with them first. We learned who they were as human beings, why they're doing this type of stuff, right? And this was a peer-to-peer interaction, right? So I helped set it up, and then I get out of the way, and then I have a VP talk to another VP who's in the same shoes, and they have a powerful conversation that I don't disrupt. Right? And same thing, director to director, things like that. That is much more powerful than me preaching about how good Nationwide is. They just get to hear from their peers, right? So we had dinner, nemawashi. The top middle picture is actually the ground floor. Their, if you will, scrum teams that they use. If you're not familiar, how many people in here are familiar with Agile Scrum? About half of you? Okay. There's a lot of versions of it, but the version that they use there is very effective. Part of why I like them so much as a model line is they've scaled this over a long period of time. They've been at it over a decade, and what I've seen in my career is often people will be sent to help fix frontline, right? Improve the frontline area, but then you have supervisor, manager, director, vice president, C-suite, right? And the conversations end up being, well, fix down here. All the rest of this is good, right? Let us know how it turns out. We'll attend the report outs, right? But fix here. No. Nationwide does this at scale, all the way up to the executive level. So what you see in the bottom picture there is, and the guy has an awesome name, Guru. Guru is one of the CIOs there. That's his visual management system. That's where a CIO, an executive, practices what he preaches. That's where he huddles twice a week, right, with his team, his direct reports. That's the hard part. Getting all the levels of leadership to practice this. Daily behaviors, that's where this beauty comes in. So these guys are fabulous. It just so happened that I was embedded with information services at Whirlpool. So for new learners, you don't take new learners to an environment where they have to do a translation. So I wouldn't take information service people, IT people, to a manufacturing floor because they have to do some type of translation in their head to, okay, how does this relate to code? Right? No, you take new learners to something that's very similar to their reality so they don't have to do that translation. You know, in this case, Nationwide Insurance, if you don't mind me saying, is basically a giant IT shop. You have 8,000 people in IT, I think, and this is public information, like $1.4 billion spend annually on IT, right? So there was a very nice comparison point to what we were trying to do within the information services department. Another example, Target. Target has had some bad press in the past. They had some data breaches, some stuff happened. They had a new CIO come on board, and it was beautiful. New CIO comes on board, walks the Gemba, sees all the IS areas that he's going to lead, and he sees this one team. And this one team is delivering better code, better quality, faster, with happier staff, and happier customers than all the other teams in IT. Who doesn't want attributes like that? And he said, why aren't we doing this everywhere? So they took that team as a model line and scaled it and expanded it. And they also set up what's called a dojo. It's a learning facility. There's a lot of ways to do training, right? A highly efficient training method is to take 1,000 people and put them through a 1-hour course, but it's highly ineffective. Efficiency and effectiveness, not the same thing. They took an effective approach. Teams that want to turn agile go in here for a 3-month tour duty, and they come out high speed boogie in with agile. They can hit the ground running with this. It's extremely effective approach. So if this is one way to develop behaviors, should we try it? So afterwards, another mentor taught me that you'll often face these questions. Go where you're needed or go where you're invited. It's beautiful if it's the same place. Doesn't happen very much, right? And if you're facing this question, always, always, always go where you're invited. The other approach is Sisyphean, right? So the myth about Sisyphus rolling the boulder up the hill for eternity, never making much progress. See a lot of heads nodding. Unfortunately, you can relate. Okay. If you go where you're invited, and it's the minority, right? It doesn't matter. If you're successful at transforming the people that are inviting you into their house, that starts to create a tipping point, and it becomes the majority, and it starts to influence the others in the organization, right? So you will eventually get to those who aren't inviting you in, and at that point, they'll have this beautiful and scary thing called peer pressure. And at that point, they'll be the minority. So after the model line visits, I come back with the executives, and I've done this a few times in different organizations, and it's a genuine question. What did you see? What did you learn? Did you like any of it? Some leaders, executives, say no. I didn't see anything of value there. In fact, it looks like a step backwards. Okay, no judgment. I won't work on producing or transforming your teams in that direction. That is not what better looks like to you. I'm not going after that goal, right? Other leaders are, wait and see, right? The whole adoption curve. Some leaders are like, why aren't we doing this right now? Okay, let's get started tomorrow, right? So I start working with those folks, the folks that invite me in to work, right? Those leaders, because I have, at that point, a vice president, in some cases, global vice presidents, right? You know, huge span of control, who are saying, yes, I've just seen 10 years into my future. I want that. Beautiful. There's a couple things that can turn you into quick behavioral scientists. There are 3 phrases that behavioral scientists, real ones, say a lot. It's on a continuum. The conditions under which, and the third one you already know, we'll talk about that later. But the first one is the most relevant to this. It's on a continuum, right? So if that's what 10 years down the road looks like, don't jump to that ideal state. Iterate towards it. Future state 1, future state 2, things like that. So let's start that journey.